What's up, everybody? It's Lamar again, and we're back with another episode of the Barber Block Podcast. And we've got another fantastic guest. Man, I just want to say thank you again for tuning in and watching the episodes, catching the pieces, catching the nuggets. And, you know, we're here to talk to real barbers, real people, and have real talk. We're here to share, inspire, and educate. So, man, let's just get right into it. So please help me welcome America's Barber Coach, Lamont Brown.
Hey, thanks, man. Hey, I felt like I was about to run on the court or something. Like, hey, high five. It's game time, baby.
It's game time. Let's do it. So, all right. So let's jump right into it. And I appreciate you being here, taking the time out, and spending the time with us. And let's just jump into it. Let's talk about the name, America's Barber Coach. How did that come about?
Ooh. All right. So basically, it began to, I guess, manifest or materialize a few years ago, predating. I made it official 2019.
Okay.
But predating a few years prior, been in the game for so long, licensed for 25 years as a barber, and then licensed as a barber instructor since June of 2017. When you've been around the game for that long, you have people who respect you, other guys coming up, becoming barbers who said that they was inspired by me. Mm-hmm. A lot of them were some of my customers, right, who I used to cut their hair when they was like 9, 10, 12.
Yeah.
Got in their 20s, and now they cold with it, like, man, I was watching you.
Yeah.
Can you mentor me? So I started hearing words like mentoring. Can you coach me? Can you mentor? And can you show me how to do that? And what about the business side? I'm opening up a barbershop. Can you help me? I know you had 2 shops. Hey, can you help me? I know you had a mobile barbershop. I want to open up a mobile barbershop, Lamont. Can you help me? Can you mentor? Can you coach me? Can you mentor? I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I've been in the game for so long. I think this is going to fit well with me.
Okay.
Come from behind the chair a little bit.
Yeah.
And teach some of the younger guys. And what happened is even older guys who get in the game, late, sort of say, as far as age is concerned, was reaching out to me as well. So I said, all right, I need to go ahead and brand it, market it, and because I was doing it at no cost, just out of love, just for the love for the game. But it became not overwhelming, but the demand, increased. And then when it rolled into the pandemic, we were getting a lot of calls from barbershop owners, salon owners, and my wife and I became salon surgeon coaches, right? And which actually, we can get to later, but actually the reason why we ended up in Arizona, but I just believe that, you come to a time and place in your career, where it demands you to be a coach. It demands you to be a consultant. It demands you to be a trainer, and you just have to embrace it. And when I embraced it, I said, okay, let's help some of these people who's living during these uncertain times during a pandemic. But again, we started out, it was all free information.
Yeah.
But when the demand grew, we had to, put a compensation package with it, which they didn't mind, paying, because they like, look, with your expertise, as long as you've been in the game, I don't mind, dropping this money, for you to coach me. I can learn from a legend.
Right.
Oh man, let's make it happen. So yeah. America's Barber Coach.
America's Barber Coach. There you have
Absolutely.
it. So tell us where you're from. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Chicago. Yeah. From Chicago, Illinois, specifically the Allgale Gardens community.
All right.
In the hundreds, and then shifted over to Harvey, and that's where my roots, the foundation was laid.
Yeah, so for all you people who know Chicago, you know what he's talking about. I'm not from Chicago. I have no idea.
From the G, baby. I'm from the G. Absolutely.
I'm sure it all means something, right?
Right, absolutely. They know.
They know, right? So being from Chicago and growing up there, and, at what point did you decide that, the barbering route was going to be for you? What was that? How did that come about? Tell us that story.
Well, I never looked at barbering as a profession when I first started cutting my own hair in 7th grade.
Okay.
And I'll put it to you like this: I was born with a cancerous tumor in my stomach, right? And through recovery, my mom didn't want to cut my hair anymore because it was growing. She said, that's your strength. You're like Samson. So my first haircut was between 3rd and 4th grade. And it messed me up. She said, I ain't taking you back. And I begged her because kids was calling me sissy and all kinds of names. And I didn't mind, when I wet my hair, they said I looked like, not Prince, but Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Right. So I was like, all right, I let it, I wear the curls a little bit, curls for the girls, right? But the criticism was getting to me. And I begged her to take me to the barbershop. Didn't turn out good. Waited a whole nother 2.5 years. I was almost in the 6th grade before the next time. That guy messed me up as well. Like, wow. So my cousin Dion, he had some skills. He wasn't licensed, but he would give me a much better haircut. But he was a basketball player. He was 6'6". So I literally be waiting on the side of the court, waiting for them to lose. Because as long as he kept winning, he stayed on the court, right? Just so I can get my hair cut. So I got tired of that. Bought my own clippers. Started cutting hair. Still didn't look at it as a profession. I had $600-something in my pocket from cutting hair in 8th grade.
Wow.
And that spilled over to high school. I was on a mission to become a Major League Baseball player.
Okay.
Right? That was my thing. I played football too, but baseball was my thing. I went to Grambling State University on scholarship. Sophomore year, tore my knee up, ACL, all that. It was a wrap, right? Yeah. And I said, no, I ain't giving up that easy. I went back home, tried out for Triton College. They was the #2 junior college in the nation, made the team. Not as a shortstop like I originally planned. They made me a picture, because I had a strong arm. Threw my arm out. I was like, all right, what I'm going to do now?
Yeah.
My friend's like, duh. Cut hair. You been cutting hair since 7th grade.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And that's when I went to apply at Moeller Barber College, which anybody in the barber game that knows the history of barbering, it was one of the first barber colleges in Chicago, right?
Okay.
And transferred because of transportation challenge, because it was all around the west side. And I went to Canes University, Canes Barber College on 51st and King Drive. And then I decided, I said, you know what? I'm going to make some money in this business. Robert Schuller said, I would rather attempt to do something great and fail than to attempt to do nothing and succeed. So I said, I'm gonna give it my best shot. Yeah. And 27 years later,
here you are.
I'm still here.
So coming out of barber school, well, what was that process like? How long did it take you from start to finish in
for me school? It took me, seemed like forever, because my vision was to finish in 10, 12 months. Yeah. But I had to work, so I was working overnight, getting off work at 7 a.m., going to school from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah. Right? And then I increased that time from 8 to 2:30, so it ended up taking me, after a couple of suspensions of, falling below the attendance level, different things like that. It took me 2 years. 2 years. So I started in January 96, and I finished in April of 98.
Okay, so it took you 2 years, but you stuck with it.
Stuck with it.
What was it that made you stick with it? Not accomplishing it in the time frame you set out originally, but it took a little bit longer. What was the driving force behind, helping you to push through?
I had to finish something. I had to finish something. The average millionaire tries 17 different things before they make their first million. Right. So they told me they didn't quit. Right. So I was like, I can't quit. I have to finish something. I have to accomplish something. I had a lot of setbacks personally. Things that was going on with me and my family, with my mom and different things, and their divorce and certain. I said I have to accomplish something for me. Yeah. And I was just determined, man. I remember I couldn't even see in one of my eyes. I had some eye challenge. I went to school with a patch. Like, man, I'm finishing school. Yeah. Absolutely.
So your determination, just the thought of like, I got to finish something.
Absolutely.
I got to finish
something. I had to do, that one was for me.
Yeah.
That one was for me. A lot of times we don't aim too high and miss. We aim too low and we hit. You know, so I had to raise the bar for my own self.
Yeah. What were those things? What were those sort of personal struggles that, you know, came up that made you that took the time frame to finish? What were some of those things that came up?
I was a young dad. You know, my son was born in May of '92. You know, while I was at Grambling State University. So when I came home, I had to be responsible.
Yeah.
I had to make some money, so I had to do both. I didn't have the luxury of just going to school. I had to do both. And then I didn't have transportation. So I was living in Alsip, Illinois. Anybody that's from Illinois know that Alsip and 51st and King Drive, it's not a sneeze away.
Right.
I had to take public transportation a lot of times.
Yeah.
Early in the morning.
Yeah.
Late at night. Sometimes I would fall asleep on a bus stop.
Yeah.
And you don't want to really do that in Chicago, right? So being a young dad was one of them.
Yeah.
And attempting to, you know, be responsible, have my own place was another challenge. I dealt with my mom being addicted to cocaine. You know, thank God she's, you know, over 30 years free, you know what I'm saying, drug free. And it was a lot of that. I was new marriage. I just got married in January of '95. You know, so I was taking it all. Taking it all. So I had to handle it.
Yeah.
I had to stand up and be that man. And handle it.
Yeah. So you took responsibility for everything that was going on. What kind of job were you working at the time?
Man, I worked at Burger King. I worked at this, it was an assisted living place. I mean, not assisted living place. It was I was a residential aide at a teenage homeless center. I was trying to recall the name real quick, but that's what I was doing overnight, you know. So I did whatever I had to do.
Yeah, to make it work.
Absolutely.
To put some money in your pocket.
Absolutely.
Feed the baby.
One of the companies was St. Coletta's of Illinois.
Yeah.
You know, they dealt with also mentally ill adults and children.
Okay.
You know, also, so I had to make it happen, man.
Yeah, so you're doing what you need to do, taking care of business the best way you know how. Now, in that time frame, was there anyone mentoring you, or was there someone you gravitated or that gave you that inspiration to keep pushing through as well?
My clients.
Yeah.
My clients, because they stuck with me. Wherever I went, they went.
So at the time, you were still cutting?
Yeah, I was still cutting. You know, they would travel 30 miles, 50 miles, 20 miles. They was like, man, you can do it. You can finish. One of them, I was blessed to get a job, right? Because my background, that was the other challenge that I didn't mention earlier. But, you know, I was arrested over 20-something times, you know, a couple of felonies. So I was going to college, but still trying to hang on to the streets.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean? I was knowing although people be on scholarship in college, you still need some extra money, right? You know, scholarship don't pay for food and everything else.
Right.
So in my mind, I said, you know, I'm gonna just hustle. I'm just not gonna get caught, right? That's always the plan. 2 felonies later, you know, months in the county, different things like that, which I gave birth to one of my books that I wrote. I wrote it in the county. It was called Pursuing a Dream, Detour, County Jail, Cook County Jail. It's crazy because I wrote that book and I didn't publish it for years. And then I came back and wrote a book that I released in 2008 called From the Streets to the Stage, you know, Learn the ABCs of Success. And I had my mug shot up in the corner, and then I had me on the side with a suit on, right? Yeah. You know, that's still on available on Amazon. Yeah. But then I published the other book that I wrote, you know, in the county. So I had all that, you know, working in the background. So I was just determined to live on the other side, you know, and make it to the top. Because like my mentor Les Brown said, you know, I'll meet you at the top because it's crowded at the bottom.
Real crowded.
Real crowded. You don't got no elbow room. So I had certain distant mentors, and then when I met him personally and other people, you know, I just gravitated to it. I said, you know what, I'm about to take this thing to another level, and that's what I did. I made a commitment to myself to transform myself inside and out. You know, and that's when I just decided to develop my relationship with the Lord. That's when I began to read a lot of books. I went to the thrift store. I bought these white dress shirts and these ties, and the commitment was to wear a shirt and tie every day for 365 days a year, no matter what, because I wanted to look like the clientele that I want to attract.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
You familiar with Great America or Six Flags?
Yes. Yeah.
So in that year, one of the stories is my family was talking about when they was like, so you're going to wear a shirt and tie to Great America? You know it's hot. You're going to be sweating. I said, I made a commitment. I don't care what the environment is around me. I made a commitment. And commitment is doing what you said you was going to do long after the feeling you said it in has left you. I had to stay committed no matter what happened. See, we make commitments and then life hit us from the blind side. Different things happen. People pass. You break a leg. You lose some money. But we got to stay committed. And I just chose to stay committed through that year. Yeah. And I made some money with the new customers that was looking just like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's an awesome story. So you get out of barber school. Do you go directly into a shop, or what happens after?
Yeah, I did. I went direct. It was a shop that was recommended to me by the owners of Cain's Barber College. Miss Jessica Cain had recommended that I go work at a place called Bullseye that's right there on 79th, right off King Drive. It's across the street from a real popular banquet hall called Captain Hard Times. And I went there, and the whole world of barbering just opened up. Now, I thought that I was like, because I had been cutting, right? But it was a whole nother game going into a high volume shop in Chicago. And my first assignment was to show up at work on the Saturday. Now, this is in 98, April of 98. To show up at that demo interview, he said, all right, I see you Saturday at 6 a.m. I said, 6 in the morning?
Like, barbershop?
And it wasn't popular back then,
right.
You know. But I've kept that same habit even 25 years later. Now I'm cutting at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. People booking with me before work hours. But it started there. And haircuts was $18 just for a haircut back then at Bullseye. And when we showed up,
so that was the high end spot.
Yeah, that was the high end spot. Yeah,
I remember in '98 paying about $7, $8, $10 max.
Right. Yeah. Right. So when I showed up, I'm walking to the gate because they had the Concordian gate with the big lock on it. Ken Blow was the owner, and I see Ken. I'm like, come on, Ken, what y'all? Is this some kind of you breaking me in or something, or you trying to testing me or something? I said, man, why we here so early? He said, you'll see. He said, watch when I open this lock. So he shook the lock like clink, 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 clink. All I heard was doot, 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 doot. I'm hearing the alarm beeping. I'm looking around. They getting out their cars. I'm like, what, they slept here? Before 7 a.m., I counted a few times. Before 7 a.m., it was like 12 to 15 people in the shop waiting. My guy Ty, he was cutting most of them, but, you know, it was there waiting. My guy Big Rob was there. My guy Rude Boy, you know, Rudolph, he was there. But we was getting it, man. Yeah. 79 to King Drive, we was getting that money.
Yeah. So when having that experience as your first shop, where it's, you know, off the bat, you're jumping, right? You're staying busy. At what point did people actually start trusting you to cut their hair? Because I'm assuming that those people were already like, nah, I got my favorite, you know, in this shop. So when did you have to build new people, or did some of those people start gravitating towards you? What happened?
Yeah, I was building, but I'm going to tell you about a challenge that they gave me without warning. And when customers saw this, and then the other barbers saw how I reacted to this challenge, my credibility and my respect shot through the roof. So in the interview, Ken Blow told me, he said, hey, we don't use plastic guards here. He said, what kind of equipment you have? So I got some plastic guards. I got some blades too, right? Some steel blades too. You're like, okay. Now, in the interview, he didn't say you can't use plastic guards. He just said, you know, we don't really rock like that here. He was like, that's kind of kitchen-ish. right? So I'm like, okay, I never heard that term, right? I said, all right. So I came, first day, that Saturday, cut a couple of heads, went to the bathroom, came back, there was no guards.
Took your stuff.
Took my stuff, man. And I was heated for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Then the beast came out of me. I said, all right. I didn't even say nothing. I didn't look up. I heard the snickering, but I didn't look up. I kept coming. Customers kept coming. I clip over combed every haircut for the rest of the day. I was like, I don't need no guards. I said, I'm a beast.
Yeah.
Because what I did when I was in school, to train myself to do the clip over comb technique, I left all my guards and my blades at home for 3 months while I was in barber college.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
You
So I was ready. I was prepared.
For it, yeah.
Right. So they was looking. I heard the whispering campaign going on. They was like, "Oh, look at me over there." I ain't say nothing, and we was on commission. So I had to wait till the end of the day to get my bread. Right. So he locked the door. Everybody counted their tickets, even the bread. I said, "Yeah." So as far as them guards is concerned, y'all can keep them. You know what I mean? So clientele began to build. Then that's when I saw barbers start throwing clients at me. Some of their clients was like, "Hey, Ty, man, can your man hit me because, I got to go?"
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you earned your respect.
Had to, man.
By a trial. They thought they had you, huh?
Right. They thought they had me, man. They thought they had me. So you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right. So after we actually have one of the another barber instructor on and she talked about that, getting rid of the plastic guards and doing the clipper over comb, and that actually increases your speed as well.
Absolutely.
So that is a great technique to learn.
Absolutely.
For those barbers who either shy away from it because they know it. I'm assuming they teach it in barber school. I've never been to barber school, but I would assume
it depends
they
on
teach
which
it.
school. It depends on which school.
Okay, so they shy away from it, but okay. So you're building your clientele, you're getting the respect. What's next for Lamont? What do you stay at that shop, or when do you start moving around, or what happens?
Yeah, I moved around because the environment got a little bit started to shift a little bit, and I had a lot of clients who church ministers, pastors, professionals, and I was told by a couple of my customers that they felt uncomfortable in the environment, so I had to start moving around. Moved to Calumet City, built a clientele out there in the south suburbs, and then got my own shop, for a few years with my late best friend, Pastor Shinova Elston, rest in peace. We built a couple of barbershops, and we was like, we're going to take it to the next level, because we was researching Bo Ricks, Supercuts, Fantastic Sounds, JCPenney salons, you name it.
Yeah.
The sports clips, those salons, because we was trying to say, we was trying to figure out, how are they charging $7.99, $5.99, $11.99, and we look up their revenue, they're making millions of dollars, right? We like, what's going on? So we got real heavy on our research, and we said, wow, it makes sense. They making a little money off a lot of stores, and then they retail focused and not booth rent or commission focused. So they tapping into the millions. You see what I mean? So their overhead might be $8,000 to $10,000 a month, but their profit is probably only $1,000 or $2,000 a month. You see what I mean? They got overhead with the receptionist and all that stuff that come with it, marketing, advertising, whatever, utilities. So we're like, man, how's they making millions of dollars and they only profiting $1,000, $2,000 a month? But they built up 600 stores, 800 stores, 1,000 stores. You got 1,000 stores making $1,000 profit a month. You see what I'm saying? That's $100,000 a month.
Right.
$1.2 million for the year.
Right.
So we're like, man, every barber shop that we, especially inner city, didn't do retail. You see what I mean? So we was like, we want to take a different approach. So when we were relaying the foundation for that, Pastor Shinova made this transition because we wanted to have our foundation laid like that, and then provide the mobile barbershop a service as an extension. So even though he passed in 2008, in my grieving, I gave away my clippers. I shut down the barbershop. I'm like, I can't do this without my guy. We started in the basement together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, this is my guy. He led me to Christ. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't do this. You know, I'm about to dip these clippers in gold, and I'm cool. I'm gonna stick to motivational speaking because I had met Les Brown during the time, and he threw me on the stage with him quite a few times, and I'm motivating. He encouraged me to write my book. And I ain't cutting no more. And I said, man, I got to keep this dream alive. I can't do that to my man's show.
Was there a time period that you laid everything down? How long was that?
It was a year and a half.
Before you decided, like, I got to keep going?
It was a year and a half.
Yeah.
I was just speaking full time, doing some other stuff. Got on the radio out there in Chicago, had my own radio show, the Praise Cafe, the Mecca Motivation, those two shows kicked off. And I said, you know what? If I don't do it for nobody else, I got to do it for my man's show. So in 2012, I launched Showtime Cuts, which Showtime was his nickname. Showtime Cuts on Wheels. And I had him, his silhouette as the letter I in Showtime. And I kicked it off. First 10 and a half months, made $74,000, you know, and began to look at expansion opportunities.
Yeah.
And then got involved with politics in my hometown. Got elected as a city official, as alderman. Shook some things up out there. Helped end the corruption, you know, of 20-year corruption. And got back into the industry and that's when I started teaching. Okay. That's when I got my barber instructor's license. Taught at Paul Mitchell Hair School out there in Bourbon, Illinois. Taught at Paul Mitchell Hair School in Tinley Park, as well as simultaneously working part-time at a barbershop as well. That's out there in Bourbon is out there by Kankakee for those who, you know. Bourbon is where the Chicago Bears did their camp for 20-something years, their football camp. Yeah. So, it was out there rocking the road. So that's kind of how my career shifted, you know.
Gotcha. So, okay. So you got a lot man, going on.
Hey, I keep my foot on the gas, man. I be moving like an Amtrak train with no gears and no brakes. People that's in my life, they're going to either get on board or they're going to move out the way because I'm moving, man. I'm moving. Once breath stopped coming out this body, you know, I would have been elated all on the time. That I'm not leaving no gas in my tank. Yeah. I'm going to die empty.
So let's take it back because you talked about, you know, being on a radio show.
Yeah.
You had your own radio show. Maybe go in a little bit more detail about that. What was that like? And
man, it was awesome. So because I was when I was in the community, we had the barbershop in Riverdale, Illinois, and one in Harvey, Illinois. I was running around in Riverdale, and Pastor Show was running the one in Harvey. And we were tuned in the community. I was really tuned in to the crime and different things that was going on in the community. So I had, I guess, become somewhat of a community activist, right? Some people was getting killed. This one particular young lady in Riverdale, they kicked the whole marching and being there for my community. This incident kicked it off. She had an apartment in Riverdale. Her ex-boyfriend, abusive boyfriend, kicked the door down, killed her, and had 3 kids. And people was around the barbershop talking about it. And I just got tired of hearing people talk about what's going on in our community, but not doing nothing about it, being a part of the problem and not part of the solution. So I was like, so what are you prepared to do? That was the question I would ask anybody that had any conversation about those type of things. So what are you prepared to do? So what are you prepared to do? Most people aren't prepared to do nothing.
Yeah.
I said, so stop talking about it. If you're not prepared to do nothing about it. So me leading by example, Zig Ziglar said lead by example and not by explanation, right? So I was on the radio at the time just on some inspirational stuff. I was creating platforms at the time for people who didn't have a platform. If you was a poet and you wasn't getting poet gigs, come on my show. If you was a gospel rapper or a local rapper, come on, give me your music, right? I was creating those platforms for anybody, right?
Right.
So I used that platform to say, hey, I'm doing a march in Riverdale. stop the violence. And I started getting calls from the mayor like, hey, there's a process to this. We heard, somebody heard you on the radio. I said, oh, hey, man, how you doing? When's the next board meeting? You know what I'm saying? What is the process?
Right.
I go to the meeting, and at the time, the mayor was Mayor Zenobia Evans. I was welcome to the meeting, but when I had the opportunity, they said, well, we don't know if you're going to be able to speak. I said, why would you invite me to a board meeting and not give me an opportunity to speak? I said, don't you give guests 2 minutes or something? I don't know, something like that. They worked me in there and said there was nothing they can do that day for me. They said I was supposed to fill out application, pay a permit fee to get a couple of squad cars or the chief of police or the fire department to back me, whatever, right?
So now you got to go through all the. This episode is brought to you by Leonetti's Barber Supply. We've been in the barber supply business since 1968, helping barbers deliver their best haircuts. We're located at 1633 East McDowell Road, Phoenix, Arizona, 85006. We've got everything you need. We've got your clippers, we've got your trimmers, we've got your disinfectants, everything you need to help you deliver your best haircut. Now let's get back to this episode.
I said, I ain't going. Said the march is 2 days from now. You telling me I don't have the time frame to get this process going, right?
Yeah.
I said, so here's what we're going to do. I said, do any of you all have a plan to help stop this violence in our community so I can partner with you? It was silent. I said, okay, so since nobody have a plan, and since I'm the only one talking about doing something in this community, I'm going to be out there on the streets. I said, so I guess I'm going to get arrested like Dr. King did, right? I said, talk to you later. Yeah. Oh, wait, sir, wait. One of the trustees stood up and said, wait a minute. Are we that busy on that day? Can we waive the permit process? We've done it for other people. Are we doing anything else that day? That we can have at least 2 squad cars to accompany Mr. Brown? They said they considered it. They waived it. They supported me.
Wow.
And that's what kind of kicked off the whole radio thing. I kept using it to promote businesses, any black businesses that was in the community. I challenged people. This one guy opened up I'm trying to think of the sandwich place. It wasn't Subway. It was Quiznos right there in Calumet City, Illinois. And I challenged my listeners. I said, if you listen to me, and a lot of people tell me they listen to my show.
Right.
Out of all the listeners, we see what the system says who's listening, right? How many people? I said, all I need is 15 people to meet me over there at Quiznos. 15. And spend $20. Let's help pay for that man's mortgage or help pay for a bill and support. I said, and if I go over there and my friends that I know listen to me on the regular, my friends, you don't have no excuse, friend.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you can't make it, send your money by me.
Yeah.
Let's start supporting our own. So I was using my platform to do that for businesses as well. So that's the radio aspect of it. But I shifted it because as a speaker, I was speaking for AT&T, for the seniors, for the youth, different schools, different universities, Bowling Green State University in Ohio, different places. I wrote a book, right? Had the radio, right? Had the mobile barbershop, right? I had all this going. And it seemed like the Lord was like, streamline everything. I'm like, what? The next book you write, he said, streamline it to the industry. The next book you write, let it be for barbers and cosmetologists. If you're going to radio again, let it be for barbers and cosmetologists. You know, if you're going to mentor and coach anybody, mentor and coach barbers and cosmetologists. Right. So I began to streamline everything and bring it all up under one roof.
Nice. So, all right. So you got to, man, this is.
Boy, look. Hey, I'm going forward this podcast to my younger nieces and nephews, you know, so they can know, you know, more about me,
right?
You know, and possibly be inspired by, you know, generationally.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what we're here for, because a lot of times our stories don't get recorded.
Absolutely.
And when we think about doing it, sometimes it's too late, you know. And,
absolutely.
And now you got to have someone else tell your story. And there might be some pieces missing, or you know that it's not full. So.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that is part of the reason why we're here. You know, is to do that, to give people an opportunity to share their story. It's recorded, pass it on, share it with your family, your friends, and you know, they know more about you. They know your struggles, the things you don't tell them.
Right.
You
like,
know what I mean?
Uncle, I ain't know that. Oh, you know, I get it. I get it.
So that is what we are here for. So now, okay, you're streamlining everything, streamlining. At this time, are you married or? Yes.
Absolutely. Beautiful wife, Rashonda Richards Brown. She's actually a cosmetology instructor.
Yeah.
I'm actually here in Arizona at Avalon Hair Institute, right there in Mesa on Baseline and Alma School Road.
Yeah.
And you know, we doing this together. Mm-hmm. And now for us, it's business beyond the chair.
Yeah.
You know, it's business beyond the chair.
Yeah. So now tell me about that partnership. What were some of the things that you guys have done together to really drive the vision that you all had for the industry?
Yeah, so we kicked off a couple of networking events under our brand, The Connection, just connecting barbers and cosmetologists with resources and everything because, you know, your haircut is tight, but your business is raggedy. Your business is not as tight as your haircut.
Right.
You know, so over the years, we said, okay, well, let's be a part of raising the professional standard in the industry and begin to provide these resources, whether it's human resource tools, whether it's bookkeeping, accounting resources, whether it's also personal and business credit building, you know, and financial services, you know, because after talking to so many barbers and cosmetologists over the years, you know, they start to develop the same bad habits, right?
Yeah.
And we try to educate them because a lot of people. I was challenged by one of my mentors and said, Lamont, track. He said, how much money do you make in tips every month? I was like, I don't know. Yeah. He said, yeah, the same answer I gave my mentor. He said, I challenge you, track your tips in 3 months and get back with me and tell me what the average is. In 4 months, it took me 1 month. I kind of messed up, didn't do good, so it took me 4 months, right? I said, wow. He said, how much you make? I said, I'm averaging like $1,200, $1,300 in tips every month.
Just in tips.
He said he was averaging $1,600 to $1,800. So he said he shifted. He said because he realized because his accounting game, he stepped it up. His bookkeeping game, he stepped up, right? He was able to pay his mortgage, car note, and car insurance out of tip money. Now he has a little discretionary income. So when you think about that, the financial service piece, my financial service guy, he breaks down the amortization chart and show you if you invest $300 a month over 10, 15, 20 years, this is what you would accumulate, 100-something thousand, 200,000. If you invest $500 a month that you was throwing away anyway, you wasn't even keeping track of that.
Right.
Food, unhealthy food, extra this, extra that you really didn't need because you never knew how much you was making money anyway. Yeah. So that piece, the taxes piece, you know, a lot of barbers, I ain't paying taxes. It's cash money. You know what I mean? The government ain't got to know everything. Yeah. But that lets me know that you're uneducated when it comes to taxes because as a business owner, you benefit more when you pay your taxes. You know, you're only paying, if you have a good tax preparer or a good CPA or whatever, you're only paying 3% to 15%, maybe 20% anyway.
Right.
But as a W-2 employee, you paying 30 to 33%. So you winning. So you don't have to dummy down your income because
you just need a better strategy.
You need a better strategy because that house, that $400, $500, $700 million house that you dream that you want, you can't make that only claiming when you dummy down your income and you only claiming 30,000, 50,000, 60,000. No, you have to make a certain income to get the house unless you go to your default system, which is the wife. I just put it in her name. You know, that ain't been ran though. I just get on her health insurance. You know what I'm saying? No, man, stand up and be a man.
Yeah.
You know, be a barber, be a professional barber. And that's why I even believe that I'm gonna just throw this in there for those barbers. even when we was teaching the business, me and my wife was teaching the business beyond the class in New Orleans and Bronner Brothers a few weeks ago, April 1st through the 3rd. We were talking about this particular thing, and she brought out the fact that, you know, the more you know, the more you grow. You know, and you have to take that information to take your business to the next level, because she said even as a booth renter, you should be a business. You should be a LLC or something as a booth renter. You should be a business renting from a business.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you can take advantage of the same tax deductions that them Fortune 500 companies taking advantage of.
Right.
Business beyond the chair.
Yeah. So now let's you brought up Bronner Brothers and you know, being able to speak on that platform. So tell me, how did you all get to that point? You know, at what point did you all start taking to the stage? And I know a little bit about your background and things like that. So tell me more about that path that you guys took to be on those stages.
Yeah. So prior to us meeting, you know, a few years ago, she's been doing her thing for over 20 years. She's been rocking and rolling down in up and down Louisiana through Texas. She's from Beaumont, Texas. She's from the Golden Triangle. So she's been doing her thing, winning competitions, all kinds of stuff, right? She doing hair on her back on the stage. You know, she lighting it up. You know, she's a colorist. She changed her hair color every 3 weeks, seemed like, right? So she was already making a name for herself. Roshonda Richards, the real stylist, right? And I was doing my thing. I connected with my guys, Wanza Poole and Craig Skills. Wanza, they from the East Coast, from Delaware. Craig Skills from Delaware. Wanza is from Philly, and they established Iconic Barbers. So I became an Iconic Barber, joining them team, and we would speak at the premier hair show in Orlando, do classes there. They did classes in New York. We did a class at the American Beauty Show, the ABS show in Chicago. So we was doing things with other people, my wife and I, over the years. Yeah. So when we got together, we said, you know what? Let's do our thing. Right. You know, let's bring all our knowledge that we combined. We have over 50 years worth of knowledge and experience in management and services, you know, ownership. So we decided to pull that all together and get that to the industry.
And so bringing that together, where has that taken you so far as a team?
As a team.
What have you been doing as a team?
Well, we wrote our first book. We released our first book in New Orleans. It's called 102 Questions for Business Beyond the Chair, because people was asking us questions. So we just documented it and put answers, you know, because a lot of times when you're starting out, whether you're a student or a professional, you've been in the game for a few years, either you didn't know a lot of the right questions to ask, or the questions that you asked, you didn't get quality answers or information. So we figured we'd just put it in the book, you know, and it did real well. So that was one of the things we, you know, kicked off, you know, together, one of the major projects that we had. And then we have a upcoming show. We're having another networking event here in June, June 11th. And then we're going to be in Bronner Brothers again, teaching the class. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we have you down there as well. There, you know what I'm saying? That's in July 22nd through the 24th.
Yeah. So what working with your spouse, how, you know, what are there, do you guys just work together great, or are there challenges or?
Yeah, some challenges, but we work together really well. We worked at a couple of salons together, you know, and we complement each other well, because she's not just a stylist or a colorist. She cuts me in hair as well. So if I need her to cut a couple people hair to keep the money in the house, you know, she know how to do that as well, right? She's a barber stylist also. And, you know, even with her and I, you know, we're able to, you know, for the most part, separate the professional from, you know, the personal, you know, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
And we're able to see one another's other weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah.
So we're able to help strengthen each other's weaknesses.
Yeah.
So we're able to help sharpen each other's axe, so to say. So we can keep chopping. And I promote her. When I'm out, I say, hey, because one of the things we do, we have training 3 months, 6 months, and 9 month training courses, whether it's practical or barberpreneur. That's what we have training class for that. And I promote her practical training, whether she's teaching people how to color hair, cut hair, or the hairpreneur, to lay the foundation of the entrepreneurship. So people in the industry, can take advantage of what's out there.
So what would you say that when you see barbers and stylists, what's like the number one biggest mistake or correction that you have to make when they come to you, or you see, or you can lend advice to?
It's the professionalism, and mainly in the area of customer service. That stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
and it's laziness. People feel like they're entitled once they get their license that they're gonna attract customers by osmosis or something. They don't want to get out there and do the work. They want the money, they want the car, but they don't want to do the road work. They don't want to do the things that, outside of the services. You have to put administrative work. You got to put marketing work. You got to build up your credit, because if you don't want to be the person, the social media manager person, then you got to pay for somebody, right?
Right.
Okay, so you need to get your bread up to pay for, because it has to be done.
Yeah.
We talk to so many barbers who still rely on word of mouth. It's good. But tap into the EDDM, the every door direct mail through the post office. That's real inexpensive, and just hit the mail routes that's surrounding where you are. Just put in that work. Most professionals don't want to put in that work. You got to put in that work. You got to look professional. You got to speak professionally.
Yeah.
We walked into an establishment, don't nobody even greet you. But you walk into Chase Bank, hey, welcome to Chase.
Right.
It should be welcome to the barbershop,
Yeah.
welcome to the salon. You should look like it. You should talk like it.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that we do in our establishment. Like, I don't care whatever you're doing, you need to stop, acknowledge someone, whoever it is, walking through the door, and just they feel welcome, right? And then if they have any questions, then you can go for there. But people don't like to be ignored. Like, especially if they're coming to an establishment for the first time, they don't know what to do. They don't know your system, your process, or whatever it is, or
right.
So coming in, they expect that to figure it out, and so one of the other things that I've learned is just perception. You have someone walking in the door, you see them physically, or they're whatever. You have a perception of them, but it's totally wrong.
Right, exactly.
Or what you think it is. So, you have to lay all that aside and just talk to people, and find out what it is that they're coming to see you for, and know that a lot of them just don't know.
Right, they don't.
And even us being in the supply business, some of the things that we expect barbers to know or stylists to know, they don't know.
Absolutely. They don't.
And so we have to, be aware of that, and, not talk to people like they're uneducated or whatever. But, if you find out that they don't know, you still give them the level of respect.
Absolutely.
And just, educate them on whatever it is and keep it pushing. Anyway, that's my rant. But go ahead.
No, it's cool. I was thinking about something that Jay-Z said. I don't want to misquote him, but he said, "I'm a business man," and I think barbers and cosmetologists don't realize that they're a business themselves.
Yeah.
Right, and they need to act accordingly.
Yeah.
You are a business.
Yeah.
You're your own brand. You're building your own brand.
Yeah.
So to have that posture, you know, while you're working, because outside of, cause you can't be walking around with pockets with holes in them, you know, and that's what's going on. You see so many, the latest clippers, you got the coldest clippers, they want the book bag, the this, the that, you know, the gold clippers, the rose gold clippers, you know. The blue ones,
the black ones, the red ones, the green ones
that light up. You know what I'm saying? The instincts, the this, the that, right? And ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Get that, right?
Yeah.
But you can't be so focused on that. But then you got your pants hanging down. You know, you seeing your underwear while you're cutting. You see what I mean? You ain't greeting. You know, you late. You know, on time is late. Early is on time. You know, it's the whole mindset. You know, it's the mindset that this is an actual profession.
Yeah. Right. And as a barber, you want to be respected that way as a profession. And I think that is and that's been a common theme of a lot of the barbers I've been speaking with, is that they want to make sure they give the industry the respect and get the respect that it deserves. You know, and knowing that, you know, for a minute there, now it's you know, celebrity status, right? So to be a barber is, you know, you can get there. And so
absolutely.
Previously it wasn't like that. It seemed to be a profession that
that was all right.
It was all right, but it's also for those who were unemployable. You know what I mean? That they
had backgrounds like me.
Right.
Couldn't get a legit job.
Right. And so that was the way to go. But it's definitely a change that I've seen, you know, since I've been in the industry since 2009 in the supply business. So seeing it change over that time, and now, you know, from what I thought it was to where it was, you know, to where it is now, it's amazing. And
yes,
so,
absolutely.
You know, I believe it's definitely growing and going to continue to grow and get the respect.
Absolutely.
That the profession deserves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are wrapping it up here. So is there anything, last words, any last bit of advice you want to tell the people who are watching? You know, if there was one thing that you would say, what would that be?
I would say to encourage yourself, you know, because it's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy doing six figures. It's not easy doing it with a family, you know, so you have to encourage yourself, because it's a lot of different dynamics, you know, in the industry. Yeah, that can cause you to be discouraged. And what I've done over the years since 1998, November 98 to be exact, every morning I speak positively to myself. I give myself an affirmation. Yeah. If nobody else pat myself on the back, I'm gonna pat myself on the back every morning. And every morning I get up and I say, you are successful. You are more than a conqueror. You will not be denied. You will defy the odds because you'll put your trust in God. My mission is to be a faithful servant to all the barbers and cosmetologists in the world, because one day I stood up and said I was going to be a man. Yeah. The M stands for me meeting my challenges. The A stands for me accepting my responsibilities. And the N stands for me never letting anybody or anything keep me down. Because like Les Brown said, even when you fall down, try to fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Wow. Speak life to yourself every day, man.
Yes, sir.
Even if nobody else does.
Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate that. Man, I take that in as motivation for myself to keep going.
Absolutely. Hey,
I appreciate that.
We're going to keep going together.
Yes, sir. One last thing. Now, when it's all said and done, you turn off the lights, you step out of the profession, what do you like to do? What does Lamont do outside of America's Barber Coach?
Oh my goodness, I want to travel for a whole year, man, in a camper, man, and visit every place I haven't been. Yeah, you know, some chill stuff, and just enjoy the fruits of my labor. Yeah, I have this thought in the back of my mind to become an attorney. Oh wow, you know, in my retirement years. Yeah, just so I could help some of the guys that's struggling to get off the street, but can't afford an attorney. A lot of us doing time because we just couldn't afford, you know what I'm saying, so the right representation. Right. You know, we taking plea deals and we know we were innocent. Yeah. You know, so that's what I plan on doing. Yeah. You know, and then when I lay it all down, they're gonna be like, man, he was America's Barber Coach.
Empty.
Empty. He lived full and he died empty.
Yes, sir. Well, man, I appreciate you coming by. And, thank you for all you all tuning in to watch this episode of the Barber Block Podcast, where we talk to real barbers, real people, and we have real talk. My goal is that you're inspired, that you're educated as we share our stories. And so we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.